Steve, have you ever run into an anti-feminist YouTuber in real life? If so, how did you deal with it? If not, how do you think one should react? Finally, if you were at a speaking panel like Anita Sarkeesian at VidCon, what do you think you would do if a group of anti-feminist YouTubers were to deliberately sit in the front rows of the audience to get a rise out of you?
Now you see, the question itself has a giant falsehood in it. They weren't there to get a rise out of anyone. They were there to listen, have their views challenged, and that's it. They weren't there trying to harass anybody, weren't trying to get a rise out of anybody, nothing like that. So you can stop pushing your feminist narrative.
Yes, actually, I have met an anti-feminist in person, and it wasn't fun.
And let me guess, it was just, quote unquote, not fun to you. They probably didn't even do anything to Steve. He's just probably making it out to be worse than it actually was because he actually met someone with a differing opinion than his.
But it wasn't the worst experience of my life either.
12 seconds later.
And then this other person who didn't like me very much came up and sort of tried to monopolize my attention, and we argued back and forth for a few minutes. It was mostly him just drunkenly rambling at me and calling me a terrible person and trying to get me to concede whatever points he was trying to make. And
so you're saying how bad it was because he was drunk and bad-mouthing you and telling you how horrible of a person you are. Yet you sat there in front of your camera, sober as a judge, calling us terrible human beings. What's that say about you when you actively do it sober? And he has to be drunk to do it.
In my ideal situation, I think the best way to handle that is to just walk away.
Yeah, forget about trying to be courteous, decent human beings and polite and saying hello, being polite. Just ignore them and walk away. Yeah, make yourself look like an even bigger asshole. Yeah, that'll make you look better.
To just turn away from the person and go somewhere else, because I think that is what they deserve. I don't think they deserve attention.
Well, you don't deserve attention, but we give it to you so we can refute your asinine ideas with facts, statistics, and studies.
As individuals, I think sometimes their toxic ideas and their lies and misconceptions have to be called out and corrected.
You say our lies, misconceptions, and all that, but you provide no examples. What lies and misconceptions are you talking about? Evidence, please.
But I don't think that requires paying particular attention to any individual because that's what they want. They're trolls. They want to take your attention. They want to rob you of your time. That's what they want. That's what they do. That's what they need.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. He resorts to the feminist tactic of name-calling, calling us all trolls because we criticize his beliefs and his ideas. That's right. Anyone that has a disagreement with him is a troll.
So if one of them tries to do that to you in real life and you have the option to just get up and walk away from them, that's what I would recommend doing.
Yeah, if they're being a complete drunk, belligerent asshole like any drunk in a bar, yeah, get up, ignore them, walk away. But if it's just because they have a difference of opinion from you, that's being childish.
As for what would I do in a situation like Anita Sarkeesian was in at VidCon?
That's easy. He would have had an invite-only panel, so he knew exactly who was there and what to expect.
If I knew ahead of time that anti-feminists were planning to invade the panel and take up the first two rows and try to intimidate me or harass me.
How f***ing stupid do you have to be to think that people with a differing opinion sitting in the first 2 to 3 rows, quietly listening, not doing anything, is intimidation, is harassment? Hell, Joey Salads asked a legitimate question and got thrown out. But how was those guys sitting there, not doing anything, not saying anything, but listening, harassment and intimidation? If that's all it takes to intimidate a feminist, dear God, don't let a stuffed teddy bear near them.
If I knew that ahead of time, I would try to coordinate with the organizers of the con to stop that from happening. To say, okay, I've heard that these people are going to try to do something to disrupt the panel or to make things uncomfortable for people on stage.
Oh, and believe me, with Hank and John Green, that would work because they are so far on your side, it's pathetic. But again, how was that disrupting the panel? How was that disrupting the panel at all? They were sitting there quietly filming the panel, watching it, and that's it. Not one of them said or did anything threatening, intimidating, harassing, or scary. But admittedly, the wind blows too hard and you guys piss your little panties. Grow up and get over it, you children.
So let's just not let them in. Let's cut it off. Let's stop them from doing what they want to do. But if that wasn't able to happen, or if I didn't know about it ahead of time, then I would do my best to just ignore them, to not acknowledge them. Because again, acknowledgement is what they crave, is what they need.
Is not what they were there for. Again, they weren't there for acknowledgement or attention. They were there to listen and learn about the other person's perspective. But that's too much to ask for you and Anita, because God forbid someone with a differing opinion is in the same room with you.
Conflict and validation, or at the very least your attention to what they're doing, is what they need. So I don't think they should ever be given that, whether it's on the internet or in person.
Well, skeptics, let's just stop right now. Let's stop trying to have our views challenged and learn about the other side, because clearly that's harassment and intimidation.